All right, so I've got another question here in the Ask Bryan section, from Mike that's basically on wholesale selling and what happens afterward with shipping. So instead of putting it in the Ask Bryan section, I'm gonna put it right here because I think it's the most relevant right here and kind of get, give the most beneficialness, I guess is the word, that's not a word, can be the most beneficial for students right here in this section, okay? So I can't believe I just made up a word, but we're just gonna roll with it. So Mike says, so I found a great wholesale product to purchase. I plan to purchase 50 of them and start and see how it goes, okay? What's my next step? Should I order them to my house or should I have my prep center ship them into FBA for me? If I do elect to have my prep center ship it into FBA, what information do I need to give them so they can do this effectively? So this is a great question and one that I wanted to touch on because it's something that I actually left out of the course because, not because, I completely forgot, but just because I kind of assumed because I know so much about it that a lot of students did as well. So first and foremost, before we jump into this question, you can go to the Ask Bryan section at the bottom of this course where I touch on the most frequently asked questions that students have. So I answer them in video format to preemptively answer those questions and help students like you out, okay? If there is, for whatever reason, a question that you think I didn't cover in this course that you'd like to see me answer in video format, you can ask it to me via messages on the platform. I would love to help you out with it. But most importantly, if you think, there's something that I'm missing, reach out and let me know so I can put it in this course so I can prove it for you, number one, but also for other students so everybody can grow and scale their own wholesale selling business. So this is a great question, and it actually touches on a number of different things, so I kind of want to outline here. We're going to attack it one question at a time, okay? So we'll start reading them and we'll read it one question at a time to recap. So Mike says, I found a great wholesale product to purchase, so he did his product research. That's great. Good job, Mike. He says, I plan to purchase 50 of them to start and then see how it goes. It's probably a good idea, unless it's like really, really selling well. And it sounds like you're obviously new because you're in this course. So it's a great idea to kind of test it out and see because you'll learn what works, what doesn't a little bit. You'll start to see things that are working for you and start to see things that aren't working for you necessarily. So then you replicate more of what works for you and you avoid obviously what doesn't, right? Simple, rinse and repeat and learn more as you go and then scale as you learn more, right? So that's the perfect plan and the perfect strategy for somebody new. I applaud you for that strategy, okay? So then he says, so we found the product to purchase. What's his next step, okay? He's basically saying, should he order them to his house or should he have his prep center ship them into FBA for him? Okay, so you can do this twofold. Now, I personally, usually about 90 to 95% of the time, have the wholesale supplier ship directly into FBA for me, okay? The reason being is it's super easy. That means that you don't ever tangibly touch the product, so it saves you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of hassle, and it saves you a lot of headache managing and unboxing all the products and relabeling them yourself, okay? So that's first and foremost. On top of that, it's also going to increase your profit margin if you have your wholesale supplier ship into Amazon directly, because then you're only paying shipping once, right? If you have your wholesale supplier ship to you, then you're paying for that shipping, but then you have to pay to again ship it back into FBA. So it might only be like 10 to 15 bucks, or depending on how many units you're ordering. It sounds like if it's 50, it's only gonna be a little bit of money. But if it's more than that, then obviously that can rack up relatively quickly if you're ordering a lot of units, okay? So I would say twofold. It's easier and it saves you a lot of time, but also it's gonna save you a lot of money and increase your profit margins if you actually just order from your supplier directly into Amazon, okay? And a lot of wholesale suppliers, if not all of them, will have experience dealing with sellers like you and me. So it's gonna be very, very easy to actually deal with them and tell them, hey, can you ship this into Amazon? They'll walk you through the entire process, and I'll answer your specific question here in a second of how to actually go about doing that. But even if you know nothing else and all you learn from this is that you can have your wholesale supplier ship into Amazon, you're pretty much set, right? Because all you really need to do is communicate with them and they'll walk you through what they need to actually do that and all the good stuff that's involved there, right? A lot of them have experience dealing with sellers, both with companies and individual sellers, so they're gonna be very, very versed in dealing with sellers and telling them what they need, okay? So that's first and foremost. You can do both. You can ship it to your house and then ship it into FBA if you want, or you can just ship it directly into FBA from your wholesale supplier and order that way, although you do need to tell them that, because when you actually go to order, you're not gonna be able to put a specific warehouse in there because Amazon might break your shipments up, right? So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna have to order it to your location and then tell them after you order that you want to actually have it shipped into FBA, okay? So once you do that and you have all that information, then you're going to create that product in your actual Seller Central and then initiate that shipment into FBA yourself so you can give them the labels so that they can mail all that stuff to the correct FBA warehouses, okay? So that's all stuff you're going to set up with your supplier. It's very, very easy to do, okay? Now, next he says, if I do elect to have my prep center ship it into FBA, what information do I need to give them so that they can do this effectively, okay? So what you're basically gonna need to do is, let's say you ordered 50 units of the same SKU, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna order those 50 units and you're gonna put your address in, right? Then immediately, right after you order, you are going to reach out to your wholesale supplier and say, hey, I would like you to ship this into Amazon FBA. And what you're gonna do is you're going to, at the same time, you're also gonna be creating the shipment in Seller Central, but I'll touch on that here in a second. You're gonna reach out to them and say, hey, I wanted to order these into Amazon FBA. Do you mind if I send these labels and you can ship them there, right? And a lot of them are gonna be like, yeah, of course, just send me the labels, that's totally fine, okay? So what you then need to do is you need to go into your Seller Central and you need to actually create those 50 units in your actual Seller Central and initiate a shipment to FBA, because that's what's basically going to get you the labels that you can print out or email to your supplier so that they have the labels to put on the boxes, right? And you're gonna need to tell them 20 are going to this prep center, right? And here's the label that ships to this prep center. And the other 30 are going to this prep center. Here's the label to ship there, right? And all that stuff that you're gonna find out in when you actually ship into FBA and you initiate that shipment. If you need more, emphasis on how to do this, then just revisit the shipping into FBA tutorials, and that will make a lot more sense to you, right? You'll see that the labels to print out literally come from prep center to prep center. Sometimes that will all be to the same prep center. Sometimes that will be to multiple prep centers. Regardless, just give them the labels, tell them, hey, ship X units here, here's the label for it. Ship X units here, here's the label for it, etc., etc., okay? So that's basically what you need to do. You need to give your prep center or your wholesale supplier your labels so that they can ship it. The other thing that you need to do is you need to label your wholesale products with your ASIN labels, right? So I always say print all the labels. Print all your labels for every product. So you need labels for your boxes to ship to FBA. You also need labels to actually physically put on the product, right, over the barcode, right? Okay? So to get those, you need to initiate that in Seller Central and when you're shipping into FBA as well, okay? So you can either initiate that and have label your products yourself and then give those labels to your wholesale supplier to label for you, and they will probably charge you a fee for that as well to label for all those products, right? Which will be very, very small. Or you can just send the labels for the boxes to your wholesale supplier, which is a little bit easier. And then when you're actually going to initiate the shipment into FBA, what you can then do at that period of time is just have Amazon label your boxes for you, okay? So I don't always recommend that, but with wholesale, it's a little bit easier because usually you're shipping all the same SKU in, and it's very, very clear because you're getting an itemized invoice of exactly what's in the box from your wholesale supplier. So that's basically the two things that you need if you plan to order from your wholesale supplier into Amazon. You need the box labels and the corresponding prep centers that they're going to, and you need to email that information to your wholesale supplier. And you also either need to label them the individual product labels to put on as the ASIN labels, or you need to have Amazon do that for you. And I think they charge 20 cents per product. I rarely actually do that. So I really hope that helps. That was a great question, Mike. I wanted to touch on it because I think it can really help a lot of people out.